Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about work stock, aka Slack. And what Slack does is it focuses on offering real-time collaboration applications and platforms for many different industries here. They focus on engineering, sales, marketing, IT, project management, etc., etc. And they actually offer an application by the same name, Slack, which is kind of a real time messenger where you can communicate with other people in real time and find solutions to problems if you are working or if you are working on any sort of project here. So I've used Slack in the past. I have it downloaded on my phone. A lot of people still use it, for example, for classes in college or other type of uses outside of just being in an office setting here. However, I do know that many companies, Verizon, Yahoo, etc., do operate with Slack and tell their employees to use Slack in order to communicate better as a company here. So they do have a lot of people using their application and especially a lot of paid users. However, ever since their IPO, they are down from their IPO price of 38.50, and that's because they've had a lot of back and forth between paid users, between what they're actually making in revenue, and other things with their company here that are more specific to their earnings. However, you can see that within the last 5 quarters, they've been able to continue hitting up higher earnings and even above expectations and are on a much better path than they potentially were half a year ago or maybe 8 months ago when the company's stock was selling off at open here at the first IPO day. So you can see that they sold off to around the $22 mark, however, have started coming up very strongly ever since then and are now sitting around the $32 mark. So it's going to be a very critical time to where people are looking to see whether they're going to retrace back to these lows or if we can see some kind of a breakout period all the way back to all-time highs, which was around the $40 mark. Now, Robinhood doesn't show it. As always, I tell you guys, Robinhood is not really the best chart to kind of see what's going on with a stock. So if we go over to TradingView here, now you can see I have them open on the 1-day chart. Now this is the free version of TradingView. I want to show you guys that even the free version, anybody can do this analysis. It's completely free and there's nothing holding you back from profiting off this type of analysis here. So what I did was I first came in and I wanted to identify a short-term range that Slack had been trading in order to see if the price was high or low for the time of right now, right? Because we've seen 3 very strong days here where they actually do push through their candle strength. And what I was telling you guys in my last video is that this signifies that a stock is having energy at this moment. So if you see a lot of melted candles, for example, these 5 candles here or these 5 here, you can see that when the stock usually trades around this price of $30 to $32, they're having some very, very weak candles. However, the difference between then and now, you can see is like night and day. These last 4 or 5 candles have been absolutely full and have not been melted. And what that kind of shows you is that there may be more eyes on the stock than there potentially was back in May or June because these levels were untested. Now that we know that the stock has a very, very strong support around the $30 level, there's a lot more people willing to come in and buy up the stock thinking it's cheap. And what that's going to do is it's going to show us this indication of these very, very full candles, and it's going to potentially allow us a swing trade to the upside. So, like I said, I was identifying a very, very strong support in order to know that I'm buying in at the bottom. Now, you can see that they were having a lot of trouble breaking this back in January and March and February. And the reason why is because this was a resistance point. Now, the stock was having a lot of trouble, one, two, three, four, and on the fifth time, they were finally able to break it. And like I always tell you guys, once a stock breaks a long-term resistance point, it's going to come back and become a support. And that's exactly what happened here. Now that they broke out of the $30 range, their support price is around the $30 range. And you can see that they haven't been able to break it over one, two, three, four, and potentially now 5 times because they did come back up out of that range. So it shows you that around the $28 to $30 range is going to be an extremely good price to buy Slack and to buy work stock here as a whole and kind of look to a trade to the upside. Now, the all-time highs have been around $40, so you can see that there is potential to run to this price. However, I'm looking at around $34 to kind of give me an indication on whether or not this is going to continue breaking out, or if we are going to see them trade maybe a little sideways here between the two levels, or if we would see maybe even a retracement down back to $26, which would obviously present a stronger opportunity for us to buy. Now, I do think that they've had enough. They have their fair share of times when they were down to all time lows. However, I would not think as a trader that they could potentially come back down after seeing the strength that which we came up after they were at around $28. So this strength signifies to me that maybe they're going to have an extremely good run to the upside and break this $34 and potentially head back to all-time highs. Now, I do see them potentially trading to the 35, to the 34, then coming back down to the 30, and then next time coming up, because of the fact that we've now have this proven data here, this proven signal that there is a lot of strength around this price. Now, if we do come to the 1 hour, you can get an even better picture of what's happening. You can see that, like I said, when something comes below their support, then it becomes a resistance point, and it happened here too. They came up to the line, then came back down strongly, then came back to the line again strongly down. However, now that they've broken this point, like I said, instead of it being a resistance, it's probably going to come back and be a support one time before the stock does test any other levels here. So that's kind of what I'm expecting here. Now, like I said, the $35 level is going to be very clear for kind of seeing whether or not we are having some crazy strength to the upside, or if we might see another return to the $30 level. So just keep a close eye out. If you do want to get in a position on this stock, it is a great time right now because they are halfway in this range. However, I would buy a smaller position and kind of wait and see whether or not they're going to break to the upside, then you made money. And if they break to the downside, then potentially you took a smaller loss and you can hedge your position by buying a lot more shares around this $30 mark, which we know has been proven and tested to be a support point that they cannot break in the recent last few weeks or last 2 weeks. So that's why it's very, very important to kind of know whether or not you're at the minimum price, whether or not there's support or resistance around the price you're buying it at, and whether or not you're going to be able to make a profit in long term or short term, depending on if you want to make a trade. Now, a lot of people just buy a stock and they want to hold it indefinitely into the long term. They're thinking, oh, 3 years from now, 4 years from now. But if you need the money sooner than that, or if for some reason you need to pull your money out, who knows? We might see another recession. We might see another economic downturn. Who knows? And at that point, you're going to want to take your money out. You need to make sure that your position can also be profitable in the short term, not just in the long term and not just over years' time. So that's why it's very clear, very important to do this analysis if you are trading or buying any stock here into the future, because it can show you whether or not you're making a great decision, a good decision, or a bad decision. So as always, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe the video. Keep a close eye out on work stock. I think they are going to have some tremendous upside here within the next few weeks, especially if we see the market continue reaching all-time highs, as they haven't moved much here ever since the economic downturn. They're still at a very low price, and that's going to offer a great opportunity for future traders and into the future if you want to profit off this stock. So as always, keep a close eye out. Don't forget to like and subscribe the video, and thanks for watching.